Hello, welcome back to a new video. This is the second writing vlog where I am writing on this new project which I am calling Toxic Portals right now. The title isn't going to be Toxic Portals, but that's just what I'm calling it for now. So in this writing vlog I am taking you along with me on my writing process of writing, hopefully the whole of the second act. But in the first vlog, I can link that in this corner and also in the description. In the first vlog I wrote the whole of the first act, and I don't remember exactly what word count I ended up coming to when I finished the first act. It was like 20,000 or 21,000 or something. So in that vlog I take you along on my writing experience when writing the first act of this adult fantasy inspired by Norse mythology involving portal magic and like toxic relationships and finding strength within yourself. So I started writing on this project like March 6th of 2021. Today when I'm filming this, it's actually April the 6th. So it's actually precisely 1 month later when I'm filming this. And so far, I have my Scrivener up here beside me. So far, I'm sorry, I have to squint because I don't have my glasses on. 25,414 words into this book. And so far, I have only written one chapter in the act 2, and I wrote that a little bit last week and this morning. This morning I ended up writing 2,000 words because I hadn't written anything in like 4 days maybe. And that's just because there was a long weekend and my whole family was home and it was Easter, so we celebrated that and I just relaxed and just read some books. So I didn't really want to write during those 4 or 5 days. And you know, I don't have to write every day if I don't want to. And I also think that I needed this time to step away from my story to actually get the motivation to keep going. Because when I finished the first act, that whole first act went by really quickly and I wrote the first 20,000 words or 21,000 words really fast. And you know, when you are starting on a new project, it's so fun and fresh and everything is so new to you. And even though I am writing a quite difficult book for me, it was still really fun to start writing on this new project. And then when I got past that new and exciting part of my book, then it got really hard to keep going or want to keep going. And this was just a mental thing. I know it's a mental thing, but when I had written chapter 7 and was about to start on chapter 8, which is the first chapter in the second act, I didn't really know what I wanted to write. I just sat and stared at my computer for ages and I wrote the first line in the chapter and I deleted it, and I wrote and I didn't know where I wanted to start the chapter. It was just really hard for me to get started on the second act, and this chapter ended up being like 4,000 words. I think I'm actually going to like change this particular chapter a lot because I don't know if where I chose to start the chapter is the best way to start it. But where I'm at right now, I'm going to write like 8 more chapters in the second act. There's a lot of like spy missions and a lot of heist missions right now in this part of the book, and I think that's going to be really fast paced for me as a writer to get that done. I'm also going to throw in like subplots from another side character. There's a lot going on in this first half of the second act. So in the beginning of chapter 8 I wrote a really difficult scene. I think that's why I thought it was so hard, because it hit close to home and I didn't really know how I was going to portray this, because that is something that I really am struggling with right now in my brain, like how I'm going to write this book. Because in the first half of this book the main character is stuck in this manipulating relationship with this guy, and the main character is lying to herself and she doesn't know that she can get out of this situation. She thinks that the situation is fine. And as the writer, I have to make sure that the reader then understands that my main character is lying to herself and she ignores the red flags of this guy. And I have to make it really clear that this guy is manipulative and is using her for his own benefits. I just want to make it so clear that the reader hates this guy, because I don't want the reader to love him. I don't want the reader to like him, because we all know in the YA especially and in some adult like fantasy romance, people start liking the bad guys and people start liking the ones that manipulate. But I don't want this character to be likable at all. I don't want the reader to ship them together. I want the reader to see just how much our main character is suffering from this. So because I don't want the reader to like this character, I'm thinking that maybe I should like cut his screen time a bit. I don't really know. So this was just a small update of my first couple of 1,000 words in this second act, and I'm going to tag you along on my drafting process in this video and just see where the story takes me. Because when sitting down and talking to you, I have actually changed my mind about how my story is going. So I think it's great, you know, to be able to talk about this with someone. And I know I'm sitting and talking to my camera right now, but like You know what I mean. Hello, it's the next day and I just wanted to update you guys about what happened after I talked to you. So after I talked to you about my second act and what I wanted to do with that, didn't really think more about it that day, but when I was about to go to bed, I got some ideas. And here they are. So here are 2 scenes or plot points, I guess, of things that I want to incorporate in this first half of the second act. Instead of having all of those aspects later on in the book, I want to introduce them earlier on. So what I'm going to do now in Scrivener is add chapters and add this scene that I have written down. And as you can see here, this is post-it notes. And I talked about before that I don't like to use post-it notes to outline my novels, and I don't like that. I don't like the outlining process with post-it notes. But when I'm in the middle of something or I'm going to sleep, then I don't usually like to pick up my phone and write on that. I have done that in past, but I like to have them here or here or here. And here are 2 ideas for 2 books. So this book that I'm writing right now is a standalone adult fantasy, but I am planning to make a companion series out of this world. So this is the first book in a companion series, and then this is the second book in that companion series, and then this is the third book in that companion series. So I am thinking about making a companion series with 3 books or maybe 4 books, and then this is a whole other idea. These are all adult fantasy, and this is magic realism, so contemporary with a lot of fantasy and a lot more fairy tale vibe. I just wanted to update you guys, and I will talk to you again when I have more to talk about. I'm so freaking tired right now. I just finished filming 2 videos, one of which is a favorite books video and one of which is a reading vlog. Both of those videos is probably already up when you're watching this, so I can link those in the description. I came on here to talk about my writing process so far. It was a long time that I talked to you guys about my book, but today it's the 16th of April and I wrote this on the 7th of April and the 9th of April. Last time I talked to you guys, I said that I wanted to add things in my story and that was what I wanted to do. So I have done that. On the 7th of April I added 3 chapters, and then on 9th of April I added 1 chapter. So in total 4 chapters more. So right now I think I have 16 chapters in the second act, which is mind-blowing. So this morning before filming I got to 41,000 and my goal is 80,000 like I've said. But you know, being at 41,000 and not being near the middle point yet, I know that this book is going to be way longer than 80,000 words. So I think that 50,000 words is a more accurate middle, and I think that I will be able to do this in April. So now it's 16th. I am on 41,000 words. If I continue writing 1,000 words a day, I think that I will be able to get to 50,000 easily. It's only 9 days if that's the case. So that's my new goal. I had a goal of hitting 40,000 words in April and I have surpassed that only halfway into April. So that's really exciting. And I'm on chapter 13. I just finished a big scene. I didn't really know going into this that I was going to make that scene, because my character is in this new setting and she is meeting these new characters in this chapter. You know, when I talked about that I wanted to add characters from the second half of the book earlier on, this is that first scene that these characters meet. So just to get you an idea of where I'm at and how far I am from the middle point of this book. The middle is set to be on chapter 16 and I'm on chapter 13 now, so I just have to write 14 and 15, 2 chapters, and 16 to be in the middle of the book. So I don't really have that much of an update. I really just wanted to update you guys on the fact that I hit the middle of my goal, not the middle of the book, and how I'm planning to move forward from this, as well as the fact that I added chapters. So that's all I have to say, and I will talk to you guys again when maybe I have hit 50,000 words by then. Okay, so it's a couple hours later and I do actually have something else to talk about, and that's Scrivener. So I have used up all the free trial days on Scrivener and I am actually really sad about it. I have used Scrivener for 30 days and I have really enjoyed the drafting process in Scrivener. But now I'm going to use Google Docs for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month maybe, and I'm going to compare the two and see which I like better. Today I didn't have any problem writing in Google Docs, but I much prefer the setup of Scrivener with the colors. You can change colors, you can customize a lot of things in Scrivener, as well as, the chapters are divided and it's not all in one document. I really miss that, but the plus with Google Docs is that you can comment on certain sentences in the text so you can go back to that specific comment. You can't really do that in Scrivener, as far as I'm aware. Okay, hello. I just want to talk a little bit about two things, because I haven't updated you guys in a while. I have reached 50,000 words, and I have reached the midpoint, which was about that time. It was maybe at like 51,000 words the midpoint happened. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. I have reached the midpoint. It was very fun to write about, and I do think that I need to go back to this point and be more specific and be more punchy and make a point, I guess, because in my head this was way more dramatic than it actually turned out to be, and I know it doesn't have to be dramatic in my situation, and with this book I feel like the midpoint needs to bring more oomph, I guess. The second thing is, did I have a second thing? I guess I have, but I want to talk about that I have not been feeling very motivated to write this past week because I am really stressed about school. I have like 8 assignments that is going to be in for this week, so I was stressed. But now it's Friday and I feel like I have everything under control, everything that I can have under control, I do have. I think it was great of me to take a break from writing and not stress about that too, you know. So I took a break, I didn't write anything, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I was really stressed this week and I didn't get a lot of writing done. With that said, I did sit down and write today, and I wrote 1,500 words, and I am currently at about 54,000 words. Oh, I had a third thing that I want to talk about. I got Scrivener for my birthday, so I did go back and start writing on Google Docs. I don't know if I talked about this because I haven't updated you guys in a while. I did go back and write in Google Docs. I wrote about 4 chapters in Google Docs. 5 chapters maybe even. I used it for quite a while, a couple of weeks at least, and it wasn't the same feeling. I didn't feel like it was fun to go back to write my book because everything was in one document, and I do not like that setup. So for my birthday my parents got me Scrivener, so I've been writing in Scrivener this morning and I'm loving it so much being back in Scrivener, and I love the setup of everything and how organized it is. So I don't really know how I'm going to do with the editing on this software, but anyway, I don't have to think about that really because my first book that I'm going to begin my developmental edits in July, I wrote that in Google Docs, so that will be way easier to read through on Google Docs anyway. So we'll see how I do with this project like way later on this year. So yeah, I have Scrivener again, I feel great about it, and I will talk to you again when I have more to talk about. I just realized that I didn't record. Oh my god. Hello, anyway. This is the end of the writing vlog. I finished the second act, believe it or not. This was a fun time. I didn't really update you guys along the way that much, but for the first half of the second act I did struggle with the pacing and not knowing if I should introduce some characters before the midpoint or after the midpoint, and just, you know, the pacing and the screen time or page time for each character. And then I think I have nailed that, not really, but you know, I think that I got that out of the way, that problem at least. And then for the second half I struggled a lot with the romance, because the romance is a big part of the second half of this book. I have not written a romance before, and I have not written like steamy scenes or romantic scenes between two people before, like not really, at least. So this was just a really like tough time for me. I don't know. It was just a weird time, and I was in the flow most of the time. I just wanted to write and write and write, so I didn't update you guys that much. But I'm here to update you guys now, and I actually have already started on the third act. I'm done with the first chapter in that act, and it's the 25th chapter. The second act ended up being 55,000 words and 17 chapters. And I don't know if that's a little bit too much, because my first act ended up being 21,000 words and 7 chapters. And I think that my third act is going to be the same length as the first act. Right now anyway, I have like 7 chapters or so that I'm going to write in the third act. Or now I have 6 chapters because I just finished chapter 25. I don't really think I have that much else to talk about, because I have talked about my struggles with, you know, pacing and character and, you know, all that stuff. And I have talked about the romance part. And that has been this act. It has, you know, consisted of that. And I actually think that I have a much easier time writing a difficult time for my characters than writing a good time for my characters. Because in the first act, my main character really got beaten down a lot. Her mental health as well as her physical health got beaten down a lot, and she was not in the best place in the first half of this book. But then in the second half, I'm working on rebuilding that and, you know, finding strength and whatever. And I'm much better at writing a difficult time. I don't know what that says about me as the writer or as a person, but yeah. But as soon as I finished the second act, I immediately got into outlining the last chapters, because I got started on the first chapter on the third act. It was just not well outlined. And I just sat there and brainstormed some ideas, and I came up with this whole chapter, essentially, that I didn't really know what I wanted to do with in the beginning. Because now every chapter is just the plot point that I want to hit. And so now I have the scenes figured out, I know how it's going to end, and I'm doing a kind of cliche thing in the end. But I love it, and I think I'm going to do it. Maybe beta readers in the future will tell me to cut that out, but I want to do it, so I'm going to. So anyway, I'm going to shut up now and actually start filming the third writing vlog right away, because I have already started the third act. So leave a like and a comment and let me know how you're doing with your project right now, and subscribe, because I post a new video every week, every Thursday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!